everyone, and welcome back to Luna's Life, Safaa story. Just wanted to hop on here and talk about something positive today. I feel like the last couple of videos have been quite doom and gloom, just because overall my mood has been quite low. So today I'd like to talk about something that I'm really grateful for and I hold on to and cherish, and that's my labour story, because it actually was one thing that went plain sailing for me. So I'm very grateful for it, and yeah, I'd like to just share my story with you today on how I became a mummy to my beautiful bubs. So maybe 2 days before my waters broke, subconsciously I felt like I needed to nest and clean. So I started really cleaning the house, setting up all Luna's things. 3 days later, I was 37 weeks and 3 days, and I woke up in the morning and I had like a slow puncture leak. So I originally thought that I wet myself. When you're pregnant, your bladder becomes really full quite easily, and the baby pushes a lot on your bladder. So I just thought that I accidentally wet myself. But when I actually went and checked, it literally was like a slow drip. So I didn't actually think that my waters had broken straight away. I spoke to my mum and showed my mum, and she was like, yep, I think it's time. And this freaked me out, but at the same time I tried to remain really calm, because I hadn't even got to my midwife appointment to even explain. I mean, I had a rough plan in place of what I wanted, but they never explained to me, like, we never got to have a conversation of what was even going to happen when I thought that I was going to be in labour. So because I had like this mad panic rush and like this subconscious feeling, I already had started packing my maternity bag. So I basically finished and we got the bus down to the hospital. With the hospital, I had to wait in triage for a little bit in the midwifery triage area, and the lady said, oh, you think your waters have broken? And I was like, yeah, I think so, I'm not too sure, it's my first baby. So that was quite interesting, because she asked to check me out and have a look, and yeah, the water then just popped. So I left a massive puddle on the floor, and she admitted me. In my pregnancy, I found out that I had strep B, which I will do another video in depth about, but it's commonly picked up in women that are pregnant. So because of that, I had to be put on a drip, and I was then given a pessary, and I believe a pessary is it's like a small tablet on like a string, and they put it up inside, because when they did a check, they said that my cervix was soft, but I wasn't dilated. Within maybe an hour and a half of me having the pessary, they had to take it out because I was in full-blown labour. It started off very small, and then it got quite gradual. I only took gas and air, which was an experience. When they moved me to the room that I actually was going to give birth in, I really made myself at home. And when they say that all dignity when you're giving birth goes out the window, it truly does. I stripped off, I was butt naked, there was a beanbag, I was arse up, face down on the beanbag in front of the door, just because that was the most comfortable position. And I maybe did this for about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and luckily my mum was there with me. Yeah, I did it for about 2 or 3 hours, and then it got to a point where it started getting really horrendous. So my mum called Luna's dad, and he started making his way to the hospital. It got to a stage where the pain became so intense that I basically was just like, nah, I can't do this anymore, because my intention was to try and do it as natural as possible, but I couldn't do it anymore. So I basically said, I need the epidural, get the lady now. With that, I maybe had to wait half an hour, and when the lady actually came in, she was starting to sanitize herself and scrub up to actually give me the epidural, and I needed to push. in saying that, my mum had left the room, but I was totally unaware. Luna's dad then came in, and I pushed maybe for about 25 to 35 minutes roughly. I was in a position where I was on the bed, but I was upright, and that was just the most comfortable for me, and it was just intense burning sensation, and it's so painful that I had to push against the burn, so it was more painful to keep the contraction in. I had to go with it, and in saying that, I did one push, her head was out. I did another push, her body came out, and they then grabbed her from underneath me, and I was quite shocked that the feeling that I just felt, because it's literally like a type of feeling, and my belly, I literally looked down because I was butt naked, and my belly just deflated. It was the weirdest feeling, but the most overwhelming, beautiful thing that I had ever seen, because whilst I was like in position, I kept looking back, and I could see everything. It's actually a very scary sight. But yeah, she was born, and she did a beautiful cry. I've never felt love so instant like that before. It was immense, and I just had the greatest experience. I'm proud of myself. I did it natural, and it's something that I'm grateful for. Just because if I do go on to have another child, I'll be honest with you, the risk of them being born, I'm just so fearful of everything now. Safest option moving forward, if I was to ever have children again, would be my plan. But I'm so grateful that I got to experience being a first-time mum. It was a great experience. And it's one of the things that I can hold on to and cherish, because Luna then became ill the next day and got taken into special care, where my experience actually went really downhill, and that's something that I want to talk about in the future and do a video on, because the care that I was given, the care that Luna was given, wasn't okay, and it wasn't up to scratch. But when you've got a small voice against a company like the NHS, it's really hard to get your point across, and you just want the best outcome for others moving forward. But that's something definitely I'll talk about in the future. But my midwife team were amazing. My birthing team were amazing. But that was my labour and delivery story. And I'm just so grateful out of everything that's like come out of this, and me leaving quite sad. That was such a beautiful experience. I hope you're all really well. I hope you enjoyed my story. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and yeah, take care.